Hey, everybody. Welcome to another awesome episode of No Way Jose, starring one of the greatest bodybuilders of this generation or any other. He's on the Rushmore for the 212 division. He's Arnold Classic champ. Please welcome the Boston Mass from Massachusetts, Jose Raymond. What's up, Jose?
What's up, brother? How we doing?
I missed you at the Olympia. I wanted you there. Why weren't you there? Come on, dude.
I have this thing, man. I never went to the Olympia prior to competing in it.
Yeah.
And I competed in 10 straight, and I haven't been back since. And this is the third one I've missed because one, it would be a little depressing. I'm still struggling with that. So I don't want to go out of my way to be depressed by spending money on flying down. And I mean, I had a room, I had multiple people offer for me to stay with them, and I still was just like, I can't bring myself to do it unless I had to work in some capacity. I would go, but I couldn't just see myself sitting there. I would get too much anxiety, and I'd rather sit in my house by myself and watch it and soak it all in and enjoy it that way.
Yeah, honestly, I've only been to one Olympia that I wasn't working since 1991, only one. And I felt so lost. I was like, I could have done anything I wanted to. I could have gone. I didn't have to be anywhere at any time, but I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Instead of when I'm working, it's like, 8 a.m. till 2 a.m. nonstop at a show like this. But you watch the show, and you call it like you see it, which is why I love talking to you about this stuff. Let's start with, why not? We're going to start with the 212 division because that was your wheelhouse. That's where you had so much success and basically helped establish that division. Yes, I can feel the butt hurt from a lot of people as I'm wearing the Team Lunsford, but you know what? If Shaun gave me a shirt, I'd wear his shirt too. I absolutely would. So let's start with that because you had to be watching that battle very, very closely. Kamal, former Olympia champion, Shaun, the reigning Olympia champion. Derek's been knocking on that door for a few years now, even though he's only a young guy. When you were watching, what was going through your head in the judging? Was that Friday morning? Yeah, at the expo.
So I'm going to start by saying I watched it on the stream, and the stream was horrific. It was with the lighting, just the way there was lights flashing like this, and it made everyone look not in shape, and it made it just didn't give me a fair look as to what these guys all look like. But that being said, they all were under the same light, so I was able to differentiate between physiques. And my initial assessment was I would have had no problem with the top three winning, any one of them. I really wouldn't have. They each brought such different awesomeness in their own right. Kamal, to me, is still the most polished bodybuilder there is. Like in any division, he's so polished. From his presentation to his skin tone, to his color, to being complete, and just the way he carries himself, I would have no problem if he won. That said, Derek, what we've been waiting for, although it still wasn't what I can imagine for him, what it will be when he's 30, 32, 34. This kid is I had said it before we started taping. He has the best physique on earth. He has the best structure, shape, overall physique look for bodybuilding of anyone, period. I think his physique is better than Bumstead's. I think it's better than Brandon. It's better than Ramy. It's better than any one of them. When you talk about just pleasing, like, oh my God, like, Derek is gifted. He still can be so much better. He can be so much better. But I'll tell you, from the waist down, from behind, he was the best in the show of any. I mean, his glutes were so dug out, and I could see it with terrible lighting. And compared to everyone else, it was just so dug out. His hamstrings and in every shot, even in the side poses, like the glute hamstring tie-in, it was just crazy. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm happy. I'm so happy for him. he brought it. He brought that shape, the confidence. It was his best conditioning yet overall. It's just going to take him time. He's still so young to develop what people want to see. When he hits that hands on hips, to see splintered chest and shoulder, detail, and the arms to be separated. And he's not there yet, which is an exciting thing because it just tells you how good he can be and what the future holds for him. And he's should be in no rush. Just keep getting better, keep getting better. I jokingly but seriously was texting with him earlier today, and I said, okay, you've done it. It's great. Now go win the Open title. And I'm dead serious. I'm like, he has no business staying in the 212. He's got nothing to prove, and it's certainly not going to benefit him or his physique to stay in the 212 division. So he won. He should move on. I'm so happy for him. He's a great ambassador. He's going to be great with the fans and great just all around. He's the all-American kid. Yeah. So kudos to him. Shaun will win it next year. Shaun should and could and will win it next year. He will get it back. Shaun's only 37. He's only getting better. He was better this year than he was last year. He was bigger, he was rounder, he was just as hard, just as conditioned. I don't know why people are pointing out the weirdest shit, like, there's some type of atrophy or something. I didn't see it. I didn't see any, like one side is bigger than the other. Listen,
I heard that too, and I was looking. After I heard that, I went back, I looked and like, I don't see it. What are they seeing that I'm not seeing?
No, that's not true at all. I mean, sometimes when you pose and you put one leg down and one leg up, it's going to look different. Right. We all have, like, one arm is slightly bigger than the other, or it can't be absolutely perfect everywhere, but I didn't see any issues with him. I think he will come back. He will not only win another one, but he'll win a couple more.
Hold on. Are you talking about if Derek tries to defend it, you're saying Shaun's going to beat him next year, or you think Derek's not even going to ever bother trying to win this again?
I see no reason for Derek to defend it. I see no reason for him to stay in this division. It's not his best look. This was his best look yet, but I think he has so much more to offer. And I think he would do himself an injustice staying here. I just don't think he's showing us what the real Derek looks like. Right. I'd seen him 3 months ago, or more, 5 months ago, and his legs were so big and they were cross-striated, and his lats were striated, and he was 250 pounds. There's no reason he can't be 225 and look ridiculous, and beat a lot of these guys. He can go up. He can stand with Ian and Hunter and all those guys all day long. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what he should do. That should be his next goal. I want to go. I told him, go do the New York Pro. He should go this year and go win the New York Pro and make his statement that not only was he the best 212 bodybuilder in the world, but he's one of the best bodybuilders in the world. And that's what he should strive for. I just think he's holding himself back by staying there.
See, it's weird because his coach is the same coach as Hadi Choopan, Hani Rambod.
Yeah.
Obviously Hani never tried to talk Hadi Choopan into going back to 212. And even though I doubt Hadi's more than 220 on stage. I don't think so, especially the way he looked, as he was all chiseled out of his mind for the finals. But man, it just goes to show you, a lot of people had Hadi, we'll get to the Open, but a lot of people saying Hadi should have won the Olympia. So if Hadi can do that well, Derek, especially in a couple of years, because I'm with you, I think certain shots like his lat spread and this, I want to see some more separation, some detail. Right now, it's kind of just one big, I don't want to say smooth because he's got no body fat on him, but you know what I'm saying? We just want more detail out of that. Yeah. I mean, I hope he listens to you, because it's great that he's Olympia champ and maybe he could win that a couple more times, but I'd rather see him third place in the Open Mr. Olympia than winning another 212.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he needs to train his abs every day. I think he needs to, that ab and thigh was a weak shot, not the position. His silhouette in that shot was great.
Yeah.
But compared to Kamal and Shaun, they have thick, blocky abs, and he doesn't. He has very thin ab wall,
Yeah.
and which is why he has that incredible vacuum too.
Right.
He can't have it all, but he can improve upon the ab development and change some of his training style. And I'm not even sure it's training style, but just time. He needs time to develop to develop and mature. And I just can't wait to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I thought he had more of a rounder, fuller look. He's never going to be as round and full as Clarida, but
No.
to me, he always had more of a squared off look, like to the delts and everything. And now I'm seeing a little more cap, a little more roundness. He attributed it to the FST7 training because he never really did that kind of volume with real short rest intervals before like that. So yeah, even at a guy very advanced level, one of the best in the world, switching things up can make a big difference.
Oh yeah, and it was in a very short time. So imagine what he can do with another 6 months. When they first started, I think he was really only doing his own thing. I think he said, keep doing what you're doing. Don't try to lose weight. Let yourself grow. I don't think they got into the real nitty gritty, until a few months ago. It wasn't like he worked with him a full year.
No, I don't think any coach, he only had one coach, James, before, but he's always done, training has always been his own thing that he handled. And then the coach would work with him on the supplements and the diet and all that. But Hani wants to oversee every aspect.
Which is great.
Yeah, he's very meticulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best trainers. Let's talk a little bit. 4th place from Spain. This guy, I've seen him, I hate to say overlooked because that makes it sound like the judges don't know what they're doing. But there's a lot of awesome guys up there, so it's hard to. Angel Calderon Frias from Spain. Never got close to this kind of placing before. Now he's in 4th place. I thought he looked better in the Instagram pictures like a week out, but who doesn't? But still very, very impressed. Very impressed.
If I were him, I would stop with all those Instagram pictures because if we saw that on stage, he might have been fighting for a #1 spot. From what I could see here's the thing, I would see him on the webcast and I'm like, oh, he's a mess. Like it looked like it looked like his midsection was washed out. It was a little big through the middle. His, he wasn't nearly as hard as the pictures I'd been seeing.
Right.
And then I would see a Walt Whitman photo and he looked crazy. I'm like, well, those lines are there because, you can't fake the striated glutes. Like they were there. You just couldn't see him in the live stream. I think he, pretty much deserved that place because who is it? Epler. He's so much bigger than Epler.
Yeah.
Although Epler's conditioning was outstanding, and he flows very well for a taller, thinner guy. He's not missing a whole lot in any one spot. It's just the sum of the whole is a little thinner because he's so tall. But man, does he look good! And I think he deserved that placing for sure. You could make an argument that Epler could have even beaten Angel, just because I hate this because I wasn't there, and I just. From what I could see, he didn't look like he was nearly in shape. And
well, Frias, he was. I mean, he's that type of guy that he makes everyone else look out of shape when he stands next to them. Right. Unfortunately. But no, Angel was not out of shape. He did not look like those Instagram pictures, though.
Right.
Who does? That's why I think Instagram's kind of giving people false expectations for these shows. Yeah. One other guy I want to talk to about who was not in top 5 was Keone, because I was really looking forward to seeing Keone come in diced and full and with that shape and fighting for the title. And when he walked out there, I knew I started to worry Thursday night at the Meet the Olympians when I sat down and talked to him. I said, oh no, how can you be in shape and your face is that full? There's just no way. And sure enough, yeah, man, I don't know what the deal is with him, but it's so much potential still. And he's still a very young guy. I think he's like 25, 26. He still has time to figure this out and put it together, but I wanted to see it this time.
Well, I feel bad for him. He had posted a video talking about how he was having stomach issues and he was digestive issues and whatnot. But I don't know, dude. I think he wasn't ready, period. I don't care if he was digesting perfectly. He looked way, way, way off. And, now I'm understanding why he bowed out last year. I think the pressure gets to him. I think something is up and he can only dial it in like once a year. Maybe he should, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like his physique is in the same caliber as Derek Lunsford. But like he is arguably structure-wise one of the best in the world. Like, and he's got to put it together. He'll figure it out as he learns. He's 26 years old. That's crazy. So I hope he does, and that'll be exciting to see because he belongs in that first call out. He belongs pushing for the title. He does not belong in 14th place. Even though I'm happy they did because it's not a name game, and that shows that they're trying to do the right thing. Even though he's one of the most popular guys, they put him where he belonged, which is out of contention. One other guy, two other people I want to talk about is Ashkanani, who's been a perennial first call out top guy. Now I'm seeing it. I was always next to him on stage, so I couldn't see what people were talking about. And now I'm seeing like there is not a single separation in his legs. Not at all. And his leg, they look big, and he looked big, and he was big, but there wasn't a whole lot going on anywhere. And they finally, put him outside of contention. He's got to get in shape. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's like that he didn't have low body fat. I think he's just something's going on there.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, when he first came out, I was so impressed by how big and full he was that I was like, yes, he's going to be like fighting for second or third. And I think Milos was next to me, thought I was on crack, and ultimately he was right. He says, no, he's not in. There's like not one line on that guy's body right now. His legs were strange looking because
it looked like he wasn't even flexing them. It looks like he doesn't even like squeeze them when he's on stage.
So I'm saying he had terrible quads. I'm going to say they were terrible compared to the rest of his physique. They were so distracting. How from the side he'd have these hams that came out like a mile, like Tom Prince hams. Back this wide, shoulders this wide, and he had very, very little sweep to his thighs, very little separation. So he comes in with these thighs that are all of a sudden 3 times bigger than we've ever seen them, and nothing happens when he flexes. There's not like one line, one striation. They're just like 2 big sausages with some veins. And eventually I got over my initial fanboy thing at seeing how full he was. And I'm like, and the judges too. Obviously, I think even Steve and the rest of the judges, when he first came out, that's the biggest Ashkanani I've ever seen, and they probably were wowed. But then they pulled him out against some of the second and third call out guys. I'm like, they're gonna have him way down. But I don't know. I like the fact that he grew his hair out. He had some hair.
He has hair. I'm jealous.
Why would you shave your head if you have a full head of hair? I don't know.
The other guy that I wanted to talk about that I think was overlooked in. I thought he looked tremendous, especially in the quarter turns. He stuck out to me was Kerrith Bajjo. I thought he looked dynamite. I thought his legs and everything separated. I thought he looked awesome. I thought he should have been in the first call out. I thought I would have rather seen him than Ashkanani, honestly. He deserved a call. I would have liked to seen him next to Angel. That's where he belonged, in that spot, because his conditioning was really good. It could have been a tad tighter for sure, but he fits in that mold of short, thick as hell, great shape, tight waist, huge legs. He's huge everywhere. He's very complete from every pose. He belonged standing in that first call out, and somehow he ended up 8th.
Oh wow. Because
Yeah.
I can't remember, I can't even remember, was he second call out or third? It must have been second.
Yeah, he was second.
Okay.
Bottom of the second. So he was second with Angel.
Okay.
And then Angel ended up moving up, but he did not. So yeah, Kerrith, he's a great dude, and he's one of those guys that can be right in there, and he's just missing by a hair, and I hope that he stays motivated and inspired by this, and moves up, because he looked great to me. He's round. I like that look.
I think he's in a good spot. He won a pro show, top 10th Olympia. I think people are going to be looking for him now. Whereas a year ago, I knew the name, but I was like, I couldn't picture what he looked like if you asked me a year ago, Kerrith Bajjo. But I sure know who he is now. And I think he's on the map. He's on the map. So it's only going to get better.
And he was second to Keone at one of those shows.
Chicago.
And look what he just did. He just beat Keone by 7 places or something.
Yeah,
so that's a good move. And I see bright things for him.
Yeah. Good luck, Kerrith. We're behind you. Let's go to the Ramy versus Brandon show, because Friday night, man, all the meatheads on social media were arguing with each other, and it was close. The score sheets show that after Friday night, Ramy was only ahead by 1 point. He widened the gap by coming in much, much tighter Saturday night. But Friday night, I didn't know which way it was going to go. I prefer Brandon's physique just because of the beauty of it. Round, full, tiny waist. Yeah, I could be nitpicky, and I will. I'll say he needs more quad sweep. He needs more quad separation. But wow, what a beautiful body. And Ramy, I don't think you'd ever use the word beautiful in the same sentence as Big Ramy. You would say freak, mutant, giant, massive, still has a smaller waist. He doesn't have like a bubble gut or anything like that, but it's just, he's so overwhelming when he stands next to just about anybody. It's tough. It's tough to beat somebody like that when they're in shape. And let me start off with this. People think he looked better last year. I don't think he looked better last year. I think you could maybe argue that Friday night, but Saturday night, he tightened up. Like almost every time he came out, because they make these guys come out like 3 different times over the course of 4 hours. They drag it out. And every time he came out, to me, he looked tighter and tighter. How did you see it after Friday night judging, right? When you were watching the judging Friday night?
I think he was better last year. There was something different. His midsection from here, his whole torso, from here to his waist, was just soft. Similar to Derek, where he didn't have a single striation in his pecs. And his abs were washed out. Last year, he hit a front double and crunched down on the abs, and they looked great, and his waist was still tiny. He wasn't able to do that this year. His glutes were crazy, like diced tight, which is weird to me. How do you get crazy striated glutes, but watery through the middle? He didn't have lines in his lower back. He didn't have lines. He didn't have a Christmas tree when he pulled back. He was still very like unpolished in the whole torso. His legs were what they are. They're gigantic. They're not striated. His quads aren't striated. They're not overly separated. They're so huge that he almost has to win by default. Like that, he's just so big. And if that's what you're judging, then his biceps were shredded. Like when he hit that, there was striations in the bicep, and you just want to see him drier all over. And when I think back to a gigantic guy, I'm thinking back to those black and white photos of Ronnie squeezing his glutes and pulling his elbows back, and there was lines from his spine to his armpit, all the way through down. He had detail everywhere. And people that try to compare those two are smoking crack. It's not even close,
Ronnie would have destroyed him.
Yeah, it's not even close. And Brandon, wow, was he pretty. Like the side chest, the side tricep, the front double. He could have been drier too, but he was noticeably bigger. In the rear lat spread, Ramy's rear lat spread, he was doing it different. Like he pinching his shoulders up high. So if you look on the rear lat spread, it goes up and then it comes to a point up here. Like he wasn't like just opening it this way. He was coming up like this, and it looked weird. And you know, you said earlier, a lot of people are arguing that Hadi would win. I'm one of those people. I think he was the most complete, the most conditioned. He won the most poses. That's your winner to me.
Yeah.
If you go through it, who wins the front lat spread? Hadi.
Yeah.
Who he didn't win the side pose. He was posing his side chest weird with his arm out in front like this, like weird. So you give him the two side poses to Brandon. I give the rear lat spread to Hadi. The rear double, no. The ab and thigh, 100% Hadi. The most muscular, Hadi. Nobody could do that. You know, people are talking about lumps in his shoulders. I didn't see it that bad. Like, you couldn't see it on TV that bad. And listen, which guy out there didn't shoot their delts? Give me a break. Like I know he probably has scar tissue there, but it wasn't like distracting to me. It wasn't something that I was even judging. I think he won more poses than anyone else. You know, as a whole, sure, Ramy won. He's big. He's big Ramy. He's bigger. But who was the most complete, most detailed? Hadi. And it's unfortunate that he's 5'6", you know, and not 5'11". He's shorter than those guys. You could argue the front double. You know, his waist is so tight, and he has abs. He can do a front lat spread with his stomach sucked in. He can do it with abs. He can do a front double with stomach sucked in with abs. He does his front relax with abs. Every quarter turn, the guy was diced from every angle. And
everyone talks about 2019 Vancouver. Do you think he finally matched or surpassed that show?
Oh, he surpassed it. The 29 Vancouver was just his outcoming. That was the closest to the United States he's been.
That's right.
Prior to that, it was just Korea and Portugal. That was it.
Yeah.
And that was his first trip to North America. So, wow, that was the best. No, Hadi's looked ridiculous every time. He's looked unbelievable every single show. And then when he came to the Olympia, people were mind blown. Oh, my God. Oh, that's Hadi. Hadi's been that way for years. Since 2017, when I saw him in Korea. He is something else. You know, for my money, he's the best bodybuilder in the world. He really is. He's right now, he's the most complete, the most conditioned. You know, I don't care. Ramy deserved to win because he's
big Ramy.
Big.
Yeah.
He's the returning champion. I can't argue it. I'm just giving you my opinion. If Ramy was as conditioned as Hadi, then you might have an argument of him beating Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, he could, if he had Ronnie's level of, or Phil Heath's level of detail and condition, dude, he could win that thing 10 times if he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Who's going to beat him?
You know, speaking of Phil, Hadi's the only one who has that type of condition like Phil, where there's feathers on every muscle, whether it's his triceps, his delts, his pecs, his quads, his glutes, his ham, you know, everything is right where it should be. And, you know, it sucks that he's fighting this thing. You could see the disappointment in him. And I knew when he won the People's Choice Award that he was coming in third.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, they're not giving him this award for no reason. Although he deserved that. So, again, any one of those top three could have won. I think Brandon, it wasn't his best condition. Brandon's best condition was like the 2019 Arnold.
Yeah.
Or 2018. I forget what year it was.
2019. Yeah.
But this was the biggest, roundest, very, very beautiful look all around. And he was hard enough, you know, his glutes were in. He just doesn't have the crazy deep cords in the hamstrings or, you know, it's just, it is what it is. I think his quads were plenty big enough.
Hmm.
They're not. What do you want them to look like? Like Ramy's?
Yeah, well, I want more sweep. I always want more. I always want more sweep because a lot of these guys have super wide upper backs and shoulders and little waists. So you want the sweep, so it makes that X shape.
Yeah.
If Brandon, I love Brandon's physique, and I think his legs wouldn't get knocked so badly if he wasn't standing next to Ramy.
Right.
Everybody's got twig legs compared to Ramy, for God's sake.
Right. If anything, he needs more hamstring and more calves. Like, I'm not thrown off by his quads. I'm really not. They're separated. They look good. That was the best he could do for what he's got right now, you know? So moving on, this is where the shit got weird. Listen, I'm a huge Hunter Labrada fan. I love everything about him. He's a good kid. He's well-spoken. He's respectful. He's a hard worker. He deserves all the accolades he gets, but I didn't see fourth place for him. I didn't. I would have had Nick Walker there all day long in fourth place. I wish, the unfortunate part of the whole fitness industry is that there's so many divisions now and they're trying to fit people in. I remember back in the 90s, they did some awesome call outs that had nothing to do with anything. They're, just for fun, they'd call out Craig Titus and Kamal, and neither of which were going to vie for anything, but they wanted to see it. This is what they need to do. They need to really take a hard look at just Hunter and Nick. Bring them out, and then Bonac and Hunter, Bonac and Nick and Ian and Hunter. Do more of that so we know for a fact. Because if you went shot for shot, now Hunter's a little taller. He's a little more aesthetically pleasing, I guess. Maybe the shoulder to waist to, he doesn't have veins in his shins. Like I don't, that shit doesn't affect me. I look at Nick. Nick is a monster. He's hard. He was the second best conditioned guy in the entire show, or arguably the most. Him and Hadi were far and away the best conditioned, far and away. I don't think it was close with anyone else. It was him and Hadi. And I just don't see, Nick was professional. He hit his shots. He nailed them. He wasn't sweating profusely. He wasn't a mess. His color was on. He did everything you asked of him. And Hunter didn't. Hunter was what? Was he better than before? I guess, maybe. I don't know. But he was pouring water. He was, a mess. And fuck, and I hate doing this because
you have to. But I mean, this.
Yeah.
People say, why are you ragging on this kid for sweating? Because when you're sweating buckets up there and your color's running, it's, every little detail counts. And you're trying to be the best bodybuilder in the world. These are the best 16 open bodybuilders on the planet of 8 billion people. Yeah. So you're going to talk if somebody's sweating like that.
And I've said it before, like last year, I was huge on the Hunter hype train. And I said, he's going to be one of the best. Yeah. And he's going to be, in a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to be the Hunter, the Sergio, the Nick, the Hadi. That's going to be your first call out. Like Ian, these guys belong there. Yeah. But I didn't see it this weekend. And I probably should just keep my mouth shut because I wasn't there. And people will say, oh, you had to be there. You had to see all this stuff. I don't know, just what I saw. Yeah. I wouldn't have had him fourth.
Would you have had him fifth, or would you put Bonac ahead of him?
So here's the thing. Something's off with Bonac a little bit. Like his legs are down. His whole body is down a little bit. He looked like he was probably closer to the 218 marker than 230, Yeah. He looked smaller than Hadi. He looked like he wasn't as full. That said, I went through and I looked at NPC News pictures. And I spent over 40 minutes looking at every single competitor and zooming in and looking. And guess what? After Hadi and Nick, Bonac was the hardest guy in the show. He didn't have a midsection. There was something up with his stomach. He'd hit this shot. He doesn't have a front on ab and thigh. I think he's only got one ab to begin with. But he does this serratus shot because he doesn't have front on abs. But usually it's crisp. And this time it wasn't. Nothing was happening. It's as if he couldn't flex it. He just put his arm up and got in that position, and there was nothing happening. But he did have inch-deep lines in his hamstrings. He did have some of the hardest glutes in the show. He did have the crazy separation in his arms. He's still, so yes, as far as impressive, if you go by the silhouette, sure, Hunter beats him. But for muscle, pound for pound, conditioned muscle, I would have had Bonac ahead of him. So I would have had a totally fucked up Olympia, which is not even close to what it is. But I would have had Hadi winning, Brandon second, Ramy third, Nick fourth, and Bonac fifth.
And Hunter would be sixth. Right?
Then Hunter would have been sixth.
Yeah.
Or I take that back. I probably would have had Justin Rodriguez in sixth.
Wow. Okay.
This was the best version of Justin that I think I've seen.
Yeah.
I thought he hit everything great. I thought his back double was awesome. I thought his front double was awesome. I thought his most muscular was awesome. I thought his conditioning was the best it's been. I think he's as wide as anyone. Why wasn't he put in that position? That's something I would have wanted to see. I want to see Justin, Hunter, and Ian. Boom.
Yeah.
Look at them for a few shots. You got to hit every shot, front double, rear double, a side chest, most muscular. Thank you. Next,
Well, he has to make him do all the poses. You know that. So.
No, you don't.
You don't have to, huh?
No,
Seems like he runs them through every single pose every time.
Some of them, when it's really hard, if it's close, like between Ramy and Brandon, he made them do almost all of them. But at a certain point, you get the idea.
Right.
I really like Justin at this show, and I've been hard on him, and I think he belonged higher, definitely. I'm just now I'm being really tough on Hunter.
Well, you're calling like you see it,
Yeah, maybe I'm blind. I don't know. I would have had him. I would have had Justin and Hunter swapped, and more Hunter and Ian fighting. That's more what I was seeing. Yeah. That fight, I think Hunter's a little rounder than Ian, like overall.
Yeah.
He's got bigger quads, bigger glutes, or bigger calves. He's a little rounder. Ian's drier for sure.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to seen that comparison. After those guys, I was a little disappointed. Once again in Akim.
Man.
Yeah. So don't let me shit on these guys too much, because Hunter was good. I just didn't agree with his full play. I think Justin was great. I think Ian, got what he belonged, and proved that he is not only a top 10 guy, but a guy who's right on the cusp of a first call-out guy. He is that guy. He's proved it 2 years in a row. After that, Akim was a huge disappointment. Huge. I was disappointed in James Hollingshead, because again, he was so big leading into the show, and he was round, and he was conditioned, and from what I could see on Instagram, I was so excited. And I had initially had him as that guy, like doing what Hunter did this year. Like I had imagined James just on the edge of the first call out, like a 5, 6, 7 spot. Like, and he looked flat. He looked flat as hell. And to the point where I'm like, that's a 270-pound guy. he looked small in the rear double. He looked small. And I know James is not small.
No,
And I think they just overdid it. And he probably was ready 10 days out, and that's more what he should have come in looking like.
yeah.
Like just full blown. So I was disappointed just because I know how good those guys can be.
With James in particular, the minute he came out, I said this out loud because I said, oh no, what did he do? What did he do? Or whatever they tried or whatever they didn't load him. I don't know what happened. Maybe he'll expand on it, but that was not the James Hollingshead I know at all. I mean, he's the James that won the 2 shows toward the end of last season. He won Alicante, and then he won the British Pro, UK Pro, something. And man, that James would have been fighting for 5th or 6th here, I think, easy.
Yeah.
Top 5 spot, maybe not out of the question at all. But when he came out, I said, nope, he's going to get last call out. He's going to get last call out. And he did. But, I just hope I'm sure they'll figure it out. But yeah, we're always disappointed when we know
how good someone is.
Exactly. This is, and especially when we know social media shows you what they look like 3, 4, 5 days out. And you're like, yes, this guy's going to bring it. He's going to look awesome. And then stage, they come out and you're like, oh, what the hell did he do?
And when we say disappointment, we're not disappointed in that person. We're disappointed for ourselves as a fan because we're so excited to see what they're about to bring. And then they let themselves down. Yeah. And that's why Keone was the biggest disappointment of the whole show, because we expect so much from him. We think so highly of him that when he comes in anything less than spectacular, it's a huge letdown. And those were my 2 biggest letdowns was James and Keone, because I think so highly of both of them.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, when people that we know they're never going to be any good, they just don't know genetics or whatever, if they come out and they're off, it's like nobody cares. I don't care. It's like, oh well. But when someone should be awesome, someone who could be fighting for the title, that's why we get upset, because we're fans. We're both super fans. We want to see everybody at their best. We want to see these crazy battles where you don't know what's going to happen because everyone looks so damn good, but it doesn't always go that way. One other guy who was out of the top 10, Roelly Winklaar. Man, for Roelly to not place top 10 at the Olympia, it was shocking. I thought he looked pretty good. He's not the Roelly that we know and love anymore. I hope he gets that back, but I don't know.
What's funny? Like if we were at a club and all these guys walked in with a t-shirt on, Roelly looks the best out of anyone. He, in his relaxed, like not even his relaxed pose, but literally just standing there relaxed.
Yeah.
He's so big, so round,
so
everything. I'm like, he looks like awesome, but he's not in shape, and he's not in shape to pose. He couldn't hold his stomach in for a half a second. Even his front relaxed, he does this like, and he comes up, he held it for like a half a second, and his stomach was blown out. And he's either having like digestive issues, injuries. Remember I said that a few months ago, his shoulders are junk. I can tell by the way he's posing. He can't open up his rear double bicep. His front double's not nearly as big as it used to be when he was popping those lats out. He can't hit a front lat spread at all. He can't even touch his arm behind him for a side tricep. He can no longer even do that. And that tells me he's got serious shoulder problems going on.
He does that thing.
Yeah. He wouldn't do it that way if he could do a regular one.
Right.
He can't reach. And half of it's because he has 10 inches of meat on his tricep hanging, slamming into his lats. But the other reason is because he has no shoulder mobility at all. And, that sucks. I hate seeing it because he still has so much muscle. And if he could display it, and if he could even practice, I don't know if he's practicing posing at all, or if he's doing what the hell he's doing. I don't know who's informing him, who's training him, who's telling him. I'd rather see him go back with grandma for a couple months and see what happens then.
Grandma was a taskmaster. She was no joke.
Yeah. She would get him in shape, at least she'd have his ass posing and, working on the finer details. He doesn't need to get any bigger. I don't know why people saying that. The only time he looked somewhat smaller was one of those shows.
Chicago.
Yeah, he overdid it. He tried to come in too conditioned, but it's not about that. It's more about him presenting himself properly. That's a disappointment too, but I wasn't expecting much more out of him, to be honest.
Right.
I think that the injuries have caught up, and I've been saying it for over a year now. He's I don't know, 43.
43, 44, something like that.
Yeah. He's gigantic, but I don't know if his enthusiasm is the same. I don't know if he still is hungry as he once was. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, but something is significantly off, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
He's had every opportunity this year. This was his third show, and he's been preparing for months and months and months now. He should have been long ready.
Right.
And he wasn't. That's upsetting. I hope he can rectify whatever it is, and then come back for one more and get a respectable placing and say goodbye and do it in the right manner.
Yeah, you don't want to see people leaving just, getting worse and worse and worse until they're getting like last place or something. We don't want that for someone who was one of the very best in the world for a very long time.
Yeah. Very
long time. Classic Physique. Bumstead versus Breon versus Ruffin. I should have said Ruffin first because he ended up in second. Man, three different looks. A lot of people, obviously, let me tell you, Bumstead is the most popular person who's competing in Olympia, because at the Meet the Olympians, Nick Walker had a very long line, but it went straight from his table to like one wall. Ramy, same thing. Bumstead's line went all the way around the hall. It was ridiculous. It was like they were trying to meet, I don't know, who's some big rock star now. I don't know, but it was crazy.
Because he's a savage.
Yeah, savage. You said it right. With
savage.
Savage.
He's a very likable kid, and he's somewhat attainable to everyone. He's realistic. He's this tall, handsome, superhero-looking guy that looks somewhat. I can't stop looking at your dog's ass. What is your dog doing?
God, he better not be pooping.
He's pissing or pooping. What's he doing?
I don't know. We'll find out soon, I guess.
Oh,
Brent, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's got
anxiety. All right. It was a little distracting. You don't be an ass.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, he's like the one size fits all for everyone. Like if you're a gigantic bodybuilder, you still appreciate his aesthetics and how good he looks. If you're small, you wish you were as big as him. If you're this lanky, tall teenager, you're striving to look like him. If you're a woman, you're obsessed with him. All the women love him. All the guys want to be him.
Yeah.
That's the guy. You've heard that term before, and he fits that mold perfectly. So it's no surprise to me that he has the biggest line there. Yeah. And he's very smart. He's very savvy. He's very savvy and business savvy. And that he's putting out lots of content. He's got lots of merchandise, and he's getting himself out there. He's well spoken, and he says all the right things, and he goes about it right. Showed up in a beautiful suit for the press conference. He didn't get riled by any of the nonsense whatsoever, and handled it perfectly. So it's no surprise to me, and that ain't going anywhere for quite a long time. He will just continue to get exponentially more popular. He's special because he has so much more to improve too. He can get so much better than he is. So I would hate to be in the classic division chasing. It was kind of like Flex, to be honest. Like, we kind of all knew, as much as I thought I could beat him, we kind of all knew we were fighting for second. And it was unfortunate because I did think I could beat him, but
Yeah.
Nobody's beating Chris unless one of these bigger, taller guys can put it all together. But then there's so many factors that you're chasing him on. It's not just the physique, it's how he presents himself. It's his aura. It's his it's everything. You know, you have to beat him in so many facets that the percentages of you beating him are slimmer and slimmer every day. And you know, guys like Ruffin are unbelievable. He'll win every other show.
Yeah.
But he's not beating Chris. And
see, there's a lot of arguments about that. They're saying, you know, Ruffin and Breon, they look more like the old school bodybuilders. You know, obviously a more modernized version, but they say Bumstead just looks more like a bodybuilder. Why do they have him as the ideal for Classic Physique when?
No, he doesn't, because Classic Physique was based off the classic times. You put 22-inch arms on Bumstead, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
True. Yeah.
That's what he is. It's exactly.
Arnold never had legs like that.
Well, you know, no, but damn close. You know, they both had the vacuum. They both had the beautiful shoulder to waist ratio. All the poses are similar. The exact same height, 6'2", 240 pounds. That is Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is him. If Bumstead had 22-inch arms, but he's got everything else: the rib cage, the big full pecs. You know, the way he presents it. If conditioning was as important back in the 70s, then Arnold would look just like that.
True,
You know,
true.
that is Classic Physique. And that's what they based it off of, Arnold's day. You know, Arnold, Mike Mentzer, Boyer Cole, or
Serge Nubret,
yeah,
Frank Zane, Robbie Robinson,
right. Oh, and who's the posing phenom?
Ed Corney.
Ed Corney. You know,
Yeah.
these guys are all. He is Classic Physique. It's you know, as beautiful as Breon and Ruffin are, their physiques, they're the ones that are the outliers. They're shorter. They're you know, they're more like lightweight, middleweight bodybuilders that happen to be really pretty and great posers. You know, it's the way they're presenting their physiques that make them classic. Chris is classic. His structure, you know, they're bigger than Chris per square inch. You know, th're only 5'5", 175.
Yeah, 180.
Yeah, which is pretty thick for a short guy.
Sure.
Compared to Chris is you know, 6'2" and what is he, 235?
He was 230 last year. He looked a little bigger to me, not a whole lot bigger.
Yeah.
So let's say he was 233, 235 maybe.
Yeah.
Still, I hear what you're saying. But yeah, it's a lot of people are upset because Bumstead keeps winning and they, you know, the fans of, well,
I'd be upset too.
I know. No, the fans, I'm saying Ruffin fans and Breon fans, and their point was, so you have to be 6 foot or you can't win the Olympia. I mean, they think it's gone to the point where Chris is being held as the poster boy, the ideal that this is what you have to look like. You have to be this wide, this tall, or forget it. You can't win the Olympia. And I don't think
so. Was Chris saying that when Danny Hester won? Was he saying that when Breon won? Is he saying that when Ruffin won the Arnold?
You got to be short or else don't even bother.
Listen, we've had more short successful classic guys than tall ones.
100%.
This is the only tall one that's really done anything.
Yeah, you're right.
So there is no standard. There is no, Chris is the best at what he does, period.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with height. It's just the entire package. He's got it.
Right. Yeah. Anybody else in classic you want to make note of?
So yeah, Rob Timms, very disappointed in him. Byron Jones, very disappointed in him. Brian Jones, whatever. These guys, this is the Olympia. There's no excuse not to be in shape. There's no excuse. Now, Timms was in shape.
He was.
But he's next to a real more complete lineup. He's very unbalanced. You know, he's so big through the back and shoulders that it, even if his legs weren't thinner, it would be unbalanced. He'd need Ramy's legs to match that. You know,
Right.
He needs to spend a year focusing on those legs somehow. Bring those sweep out a little more. I don't know what he can do because he's so big. He's almost like who's the pilot from Barbados?
Joel Stubbs.
Joel Stubbs.
Yeah.
He looks like a
Yeah,
Joel
yeah.
Stubbs out there. Big hanging pecs and
Yeah.
huge hanging lats. I don't know that there's anything you can really do with that. That's like an anomaly. But he's so good. And when he poses a certain ways and Bumstead's not around, he looks unbelievable, you know?
But it's very similar to what we're talking about with Brandon next to Ramy.
Yeah.
Not the Chris Bumstead doesn't have Ramy sized legs, but if you're standing up there with guys like Ruffin has phenomenal legs, Breon's got great legs, Bumstead's got pretty damn good legs. You have to be balanced. I heard that argument too. The Tim's fans were butthurt. Everyone who didn't win, their fans were butthurt in every division, but that's just the way it goes. You know, they were arguing, well, if it's supposed to be classic, it's supposed to be harkening back to the ideals of the Arnold days and everything. Those guys didn't have big legs. So
No, but they were balanced.
Yeah, I mean, who said that classic was supposed to look like people did in 1975? I mean, if that's the case, there wouldn't be any conditioning. So I don't know. You can't please everybody. But Tim's, I said it many times, I'll keep saying it. When he gets some more legs, especially some more sweep, I say that every damn time about almost everybody. But if he can get more sweep, God, that upper body is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He would be pushing Bumstead for the win if he had legs like I would like to see.
Yeah. The two newcomers that deserve some noting is the kid from Germany.
Urs.
Oh, was he fun to watch? His personality and his confidence, breakdancing. And he started out the first half of his routine like real classic and slow and dramatic, and busted into some breakdancing. And the smile on that kid was electric. You know, it was so fun to watch that he
did the worm. He did the worm on stage.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was exciting. I loved it. I loved everything about him. I loved his attitude. And the other guy, Raymond from Brazil, he was so thick and so like heavily muscled for a classic guy, but it was all, and all perfectly proportioned and tiny, tiny vacuumed waist and great legs. That kid, give him another year. I think he's 25, 26.
Urs is only 23. I think this kid, Ramon's 25. Yeah, they're so young.
Yeah, so it's exciting. The future is great. You know, these guys are going to come back even better and probably move up a few spots. It was good to see in every division there were some big, promising competitors that are going to give us entertainment for years to come. Yeah. Quickly, we saw Brooke Walker place third in the women's physique. That was awesome. You know, she's been knocking on the door for a long time and I think overlooked. She should have qualified for an Olympia a few years back. But how beautiful is that in her first Olympia, she bangs out third place.
Former Jay Cutler Classic Boston.
Yeah, she won there. She was the best in the whole show that time.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, what is she been doing here?
we also had the new wellness girl, which I think was the smart choice because I was loving the Angela Borges girl. I'm sure you did too, due to the sleeve tattoo.
Come on now.
Yeah, but I think she's a bit almost too hard muscular, and had they gone that direction, it would have probably sent the whole division in what they would consider the wrong idea. So they settled for a little cleaner looking. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, like maybe slightly softer, but beautiful all around look. They made the right decision there. It was awesome to see Ashley Kaltwasser top 3 again in the Olympia. That was another division where I would have flipped a coin and said, you know, any one of those top 3 could have won for me. I would have liked to personally seen Laura Lee, because, you know, in the past, they've knocked her for being too muscular. You know, she was too big. This time she came in flat as could be, really small, noticeably small, and they didn't reward that. So, I mean, second place is rewarding, I guess. but congratulations to Jennifer Dory. She was the most unremarkable, if that's a compliment. Like sometimes the one that's not jumping out at you is the one who has to win, because she I don't know. That's why I said you could flip a coin and I don't know. I think it was because she just had she wasn't the most of anything. She had just enough right of everything. Good symmetry, good condition, but nothing outrageous. And then, oh man, my other favorite of the weekend was the women's open bodybuilder, Andrea Shaw.
Yeah, let me just say, Giles got my wrap up yesterday. He said, out of all the divisions, who was the most dominating winner? And I didn't even blink. I said, Andrea Shaw.
Yeah. You know what's amazing on her is she's stunningly beautiful on top of it all. She's like a Linda Murray. Not a knock, but that's a rare combination, being that big, that condition, that round. Like, she was bigger, rounder, and harder than some of the open guys, some of the 212 guys.
Oh yeah.
Like from her structure. I would love to know how much she weighed. How much did she weigh?
If I had to guess, I'm going to say she was probably about 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me she couldn't win the middleweight nationals.
Arms have to be like 18 inches ripped. Delts like, and still very pretty feminine face. I know.
Yeah.
People are going to say, why does that matter? Well, everything matters.
Oh, it matters because that is what's carrying the torch for the division, and what younger ladies who want to do that need to aspire to.
Right.
You want to keep that feminine, beautiful look to you, and have, the right amount of muscle, and go about it the right way as much as possible. And I hope Andrea stays right here. Yeah. Right here. Don't change a thing. Just do it and you'll win 5, 6, 7, 8 more. That was exciting to watch. I think the women are awesome. I think they didn't do a pose down, they did a dance off. And it was crazy. All of them were dancing. And it just shows their enthusiasm, and they were having fun. And really that's what it's all about. And I love to see it. I'm glad, Jake is doing such a great job with the women bodybuilding, and hopefully it's here to stay.
Yeah. I mean, I commend Jake and Solomon and Tamer and all those people, because, we're still in the COVID world. We're still living with a lot of restrictions and things are messed up. But they pulled off. I don't know if that was the best Olympia, but it was pretty damn, it's up there. I've been to a lot of damn Olympias, but that one, this was very exciting. And the staging is just ridiculous. It's, like 10 giant screens in a row across the stage.
It was ridiculous because it was very hard to watch on the live stream with all this shit happening in the background, laser beams, and I think in between they can do that stuff, but when there's people on stage, there shouldn't be the digital TVs. Like, it was kind of weird. It was distracting. And they'll fix that. The lighting, they can't have like those lights. What is that light called that's constantly going?
Vero lights. I don't know. Back in the old days, they called them Vero lights. There's probably some other more high tech.
Yeah. They're very, very, very distracting, is what they are.
To tell you, at one point, they must have had them aimed too low because they were going into the audience, those lights.
Yeah.
And I kept getting this eye like a blast, like looking into the sun for 10 minutes. And it was like, I was getting that, how if you look in the sun, you can't see out of that eye.
That must have happened right before Ashkanani came on stage. He thought he looked spectacular.
Maybe that's probably when it was. I'm just saying, I think I burnt my retina. But anyway, so yeah, Dan, they got to aim the lights a little higher next time. Not at me. But man, okay, we covered a lot of ground, man. I wish you were there, but luckily you studied the pictures like a pro, man. You went through every pose.
I went through every competitor. I looked at every picture because I wanted some factual evidence to tell me why Bonac was so bad, like why he was out. Because I'm like, I'm not seeing it. He's not as big as he was, but he didn't look that bad. So I wanted to zoom in and see, and I'm like, dude, he's hard as hell. His rear lat spread looked really good. Yeah. He was hard. He just wasn't at his best. And sometimes they're judging you against your best. And I think that was a situation where, go ahead and look. I implore you all to go look at the NPC News.
No. We have a contest gallery on Muscular Development.
Well, either one. Go look at these then, and look, zoom in and check out every competitor. Check out all the Hunter pictures, and then picture all the Bonac pictures, and you'll probably wonder, how did that guy beat him by 3 spots or 2 spots, whatever it was. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll leave Hunter alone now. I don't want to get a phone call from him or his girlfriend and threatening to kill me or something. It's nothing personal.
I can see in the comments now. Why does Jose hate Hunter so much?
Yeah, right. I love Hunter.
Exactly.
I think he's awesome.
Exactly.
I just want to see. I expect more. I want to see the Hunter Sergio show next year, and I want them both blitzed out of their minds, shredded and full.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna happen. It will.
Oh yeah. They're both going to meet again on the Olympia stage. I know it. Arnold stage, Olympia stage. Those two are going to be battling for years to come.
Yeah.
I hope so. I love to see rivalries and stuff. I love it. All right. Well, guys, this has been another awesome episode of No Way Jose. Who could break down the Olympia like this guy? So I want you to follow him on Instagram at THEE, 2 E's, the Boston Mass. Go to his website, thebostonmass.com, coaching services, merchandise, lots of info. And last but not least, right here on YouTube, the Boston Mass YouTube channel, tons and tons of incredible content that Jose's been putting out for a while now. A lot of it with him and his buddy Nate. Nate was at the show. Interviews, workouts. They go all over the best gyms in the country. Man, it's just a lot of cool stuff. So check out the Boston Mass YouTube channel. And Jose, I thank you for being very, very generous with your time. You have so much knowledge, so much experience. If you guys don't like his opinions, oh well. He knows what he's talking about. You can't argue that. He's been up on the Olympia stage 12 times?
10.
10. Okay, well, that's 10 more times than
You
most
with
people.
numbers, man. You're terrible with numbers.
Damn, I'm the worst, dude.
Yeah.
I was like one of the best English students my high school had ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like struggling to stay out of like the math classes.
Yeah.
I was in there with like all the juvenile delinquents.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
With me.
All right. Well, that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching No Way Jose with Boston Mass himself, Jose Raymond. We'll see you next time.
Peace.